Hey, 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 everyone. We are back. And today required a full glass of wine
I'm
and
going to
maybe
open
even
mine.
a bottle of wine because today we're going to get into what we call life, but it's really adulting with adult kids. And I think Renee and I are really, really excited. We've had some tough times getting to where we are.
Yep.
And we probably could do a part one or part two of this episode. So we hope you hang with us. And we know that you guys have your own stories too. And we'd love to hear from you. But this is just us being completely raw of what it's really, really like having adult kids. Renee is like going full board with the whole bottle of wine because that's how tough or challenging or how exciting and amazing this conversation is.
Exactly. Because, adult children is both joyful and celebratory, and it's also dramatic and emotionally roller coaster.
Yes.
It's everything. It's everything. So we're going to, yeah, I opened up a fucking bottle. We're gonna share.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
like, this is girlfriend talk, and a lot of what we share authentically is not for us to air dirty laundry or to be crazy about it. We want to help others and know that
We do.
you're not alone. So if we've gone through it, you may be going through it. You may have gone through it, right? And we're
Yes.
sharing this because we're also looking for advice. Like we want women to share what they've done. And when I go I don't think there's any mom out there who thinks that they've gotten it 100% right.
No, and we beat each other up so bad as moms anyways. And then you've got to get a transition from, putting a spoon in your child's mouth to them being teenagers and knowing everything to now they're the adult and you really get no say and you just hope that you did a good enough job and then
Yeah.
you're beating yourself up because you didn't teach them right with the spoon. They weren't the smartest in class and then they're not the coolest in high school, or they are, and then now you have this adult kid and just pray to God you did good enough so that you could actually try to have a relationship with them, which you don't always get to have a relationship with your adult kid. And
Yeah.
sometimes you go through a period where it's, well, I think Renee, you probably can say it a lot better because you have fully experienced this. So, I mean, I would love for you just to kick off, like, because, and you have, just tell your story.
Yeah.
How many kids you have, all that good stuff, so that we could just like understand everything fully.
Yeah, so we can understand and rip the Band-Aid. So I
Yes.
am blessed with two amazing daughters. One is going to be 25 in January, and she's getting married next year. So we have a lot of great things. And she has been my mini me. She's my oldest daughter. Oh, so that's the oldest. And her and I have a lot of similarities. And can see things in certain lights and get along like best friends, but then we can both piss each other off. But we have such a great relationship that we can tell each other when we're aggravating each other in order to give each other space. So that's awesome. And then I have my youngest daughter who I love and adore. She is 21. She is a senior in college, but sadly, over a year ago, she stopped talking to me. And I didn't know and understand, and felt so shameful, like embarrassed. It was just, still is like a really bad time. But
Hmm.
sadly, as I shared with some friends, I have found out so many women go through this, and it is a
They do.
fucking travesty. I don't understand it. um it seems like an epidemic with the younger generation. Because that's when I see it and hear people's stories, that's what it seems like. So I'm able to now like more, more communicate about this, because
Yeah.
it's not, I had to go through the like, oh my God, me, and I'm not taking responsibility. Something had to have triggered that, right? And I have dissected our relationship to the nth degree. Sadly, I can't pinpoint one thing. I can definitely see, and this, I think I have a lot of commonality with a lot of women who've gone through this. There wasn't like a big event, it's not like there was drugs, alcohol, abuse. Like I could see when there's certain, things like that, major things going on. But
Yeah.
for me not to have a relationship with her when she was my buddy, like her and she was the girly girl. My oldest was always the sporty one. So even though we're besties, I didn't understand that world, right? But my little one, she was the dance one, and she was the makeup and that, and like we were together all the time. And now, granted, as you grow, you change, right? So I don't see her in just the little kid box, but divorce sucks. And I am confident that, post divorce and into her adulting years, really that fucked us up big time.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and, I'm not perfect by any means. Never claimed to be, the perfect mom, the perfect anything, but I tried my fucking hardest. And I was always present and always there for both of my daughters. Love them
Yeah.
dearly. So if anyone else can relate to, when it hits, it hits. So when I say this changed my life,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. I don't know. I love on her. I pray that we connect again, but it,
Mhm.
it sucked. She cut me out and she cut my oldest daughter out. And I think it's because of our relationship. So, you know, it's it's a lot. It's heavy.
Yeah.
But we said
And
we're gonna go there. We said we're gonna share, our struggles. Um,
yes.
and with her, I think some of it I can only speculate. And that's I think what hurts the most,
Yes.
not knowing.
Yeah, like, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? And that mom guilt that you
Yeah.
have when your kids are young, sometimes it feels so much heavier when they're older.
Yeah. Because
And
we made this conscious decision as an adult.
yes.
And so I'm sure that was very difficult for her. I'm sure whatever she was going through, sadly, she didn't feel she could communicate that with me in order to share what she needed from me. And
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that she didn't recognize and feel that I wouldn't be able to support her, because I've done that my whole life. I've supported them. I fucking fought for them in a major way with my ex. We had a shitty divorce, and I know that obviously there are the kids suffer the most, right?
Mhm.
So that has been terrible, but it's been a journey. I'm still working through all of those feelings. Sometimes it hits me like this. Sometimes I can, just talk about it and,
Yeah.
share with other women. But um, it's hard, and it's hard to be truthful about it because there's so much shame associated with, somebody not wanting to speak to you and you don't understand why. Like so it's definitely, what did I do? How can I fix it? And I have to give her space is what I've tried to do. I've tried reaching out. I've given her space. Um,
Mhm.
Continue to check up on her, love on her, no expectations, but pray
Yeah.
that she reaches back and she wants to, communicate. So that's the only thing I can do. And I have to like not get through it, but I have to continue to live, and I have to
Yeah.
continue, right, to enjoy and be grateful for what I do have and not
Mhm.
focus on, you know, not having her in my life. Doesn't mean I don't think about her 24 hours a day. Doesn't mean I don't pray about it every single day. But I
Yes.
have to also live for me, my oldest daughter, lots of great things going on in our lives, my boyfriend, his family, like my family, there's a lot of wonderfulness, but adulting adults is definitely a challenge. And
It is
I
hard.
thought I thought I was doing really well. So that's the other
Hard.
thing. Yeah.
So hard. Renee, when I was 18, 17 going on 18, I had a boyfriend that was not good for me, and my family kept telling me like break up, and I'm like, "No,
Hmm.
never." So I came home one day from work and my bags were on the front porch and they told me to leave, and it broke my heart and it pissed me off, but this was a reason. It pissed me off that my dad just abandoned me, in my opinion, because my dad was everything to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk to my dad for a year. And I
Wow.
would call him from a payphone and just hear his voice and hang up
Yeah.
because I was hurting so bad inside. But I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And for some reason, I felt like I was setting a boundary, but I never told him really what hurt me. And I knew that it hurt him. But then just when we did start talking again, it's like we just picked up where we left off, but we never had that conversation.
Yeah.
So I feel what you are going through because I now have lost my dad and I would do
Right.
anything in my soul
Right.
to get that fucking time
Yep.
back.
Yep.
Right? So it's a journey that these adult kids have to go
Yeah.
through, but
Yeah.
at the sacrifice of us as moms feeling like we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. I do understand this is her journey and I can't force it. I can't force her to want to have a
If you do,
relationship.
it'll push her away more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, I have to give her the space and the boundaries. She's a grown adult. I've I have to just hope and pray that, when, I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when she reaches out, hope she knows I'll always be there. But,
Yeah.
part of this podcast and talking about it, that's also the scary thing. I started sharing a little bit on social about it, but that, also like devastated my business because when something like that happens, the last thing you want to do is be around cheerful moms who are
Yeah.
talking about their kids.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it. So my business took a turn, and I kept saying, on social media, you have to be authentic. You have to share. So being, this as an entrepreneur, we have to share our life because women do business with women. They don't do business with
Mhm.
just a company or a product. They do business with somebody who they, for lack, like no trust. And I wasn't authentic online because because of everything I was going through. I didn't want to share it because I also don't believe in sharing your dirty laundry on social media,
Mhm.
But once I started sharing a little bit of my journey and how I'm dealing with it, I was really saddened with how many women have either gone through it or are going through it. It's
Yeah.
scary.
It's horrible. That's so, so horrible.
Yeah.
Um, I had a little bit similarity in the abandonment piece, but mine was opposite, um, Renee. So I get it.
Yeah.
What do you think? And it might be really, really hard to answer this because you're going through these deep, deep emotions. But what are you learning the most from this experience personally as a woman, not as necessarily a mother?
Um, you know what? As a woman, you don't know what another woman's going through. They
Mm,
could be putting on the bravest face. So I've definitely, felt more compassion for others because of the fact that we don't know what they're going through. And the fact
Mhm.
is, every woman is going through something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, every woman is going through something. So I think that's my biggest takeaway. And I had to, allow and give myself grace because there's so many things to be grateful for. So,
Yeah.
we've overcome a lot in our lives. And I truly pray and believe that this is going to be a chapter. This is a chapter of the whole story. And this could get us to the point where we have the strongest relationship that we've ever had. So that's my eye on that prize.
For sure.
Yep.
So what advice a woman listening today to where, I mean, it's been a couple of months now and her son or daughter just has not replied, hasn't answered, and she has no financial strings attached to her. So there's nothing she can do. What advice, what are you going to tell her? What do you want to say to her?
That she's not alone. That's the biggest
Mhm.
thing. She's not alone. And, if I could be a sounding board or resource, like I just want women to know that if you're going through this, that you're not alone. I was part of a group and I don't know, it got taken down from Facebook. And I even considered like, should I create my own? Because I want women to feel that that number one, they're not alone. And number two, they can get through it. No matter how devastating this is, they can get through it. And it's not a fact of, discounting or dismissing the child. That's not in any way, shape, or form. Her pictures are all over the place. I message her periodically. Like, I will love on her until the day I die. But
Absolutely.
um, we have to find other outlets other than wine to get us through, right?
Right,
And
here we are.
for me, the biggest thing was uh, not that I'm a workaholic, but I find joy in helping others. And part of my businesses is helping other women build their businesses or look and feel good. So when I found that, when I just made the decision, not found, when I made the decision, because everything we do is a decision. When I made the decision to get up, because there are days and there are moments where I just want to lay in bed and bawl my eyes out and right.
Absolutely.
But because I'm helping other women, that drives me and helps me get through those darker times. So finding something that's going to drive them to get through their darker times. And not everybody wants a business, and I understand and respect that. But it could be volunteering at the local school. It could be volunteering at an animal shelter. It could be, you know, reading to children.
Doing something that makes you happy.
Yes, and being purposeful, right? Because when you're attached to somebody else and they need you, a lot of
Yes.
women are really alone, and we saw
Yes.
it with everything that went on the last couple of years, right? And so when
This is
people are
me.
alone,
This is my story.
yes, we need a community. So when you are attached to somebody and are basically accountable to somebody. So for my businesses, I'm accountable to my clients, my team members, and I love helping them. Like I genuinely love that. So if I can make a difference in somebody's life, great. That so even those days where I am like, I don't want to do a fucking thing. I hate the world. I am so sad. I just want to eat popcorn and go to bed. Like that's it. I get up and I do it, put my big girl pants on and do it. So if anybody's listening that's going through this or is going through this, find something that's going to give you joy and a purpose. And,
Yes.
and really whether even if that's going to church, every week, like something that's going to make you get out there and help others. So that would be my
Yeah.
advice.
And I mean, I guess this is like a perfect segue to kind of lean into because that is my story is the aloneness.
Yeah.
And so like I said, how I had the opposite. I have 3 boys, actually 5 grown men in my life,
Mhm.
3 that I birthed, and 2 that are my bonus babies. So my bonus babies came into my life when one was 6 and one was 9. So really, my bonus
Yeah.
babies,
Yeah.
right? Um, but I had the divorce thing, and we're
Yeah.
gonna do a show about divorce and
Yeah.
all that. But same thing, horrible, horrible. The damage that it did to my children, absolutely not okay. Which led me to my baby. My at that time he was 10. Um, my ex wanted custody of my boys and fought for all of them. Well, my youngest wanted to live with his dad. The other two did not. He took me to court for all three instead of just the one. The one I was willing to say, okay, you could live with your dad, but you have to come on weekends with me. But he
Yeah.
wanted all three of them. So I had to then fight. Well, when he found out that I was fighting, he didn't understand at that time that I was fighting for everything. We went through a period where he just absolutely hated me.
Mm-hmm.
Hated me. And even though, and so even into his teenager years, he didn't want to be around me. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to talk to me. He didn't want to, even if I just even tried to kiss him or hug him, it just was like the worst fucking
Yeah.
feeling ever because he was my baby, you know, and it was like I need to know you love me. I need you
Yeah.
to know I love you. And they don't
I
understand the
do.
manipulation and everything that happens, but all you do is you just love them and
Yep.
you love them so fucking much that it hurts. And so as he got older, I really thought I was like, I don't think I'm gonna ever have a relationship with him like I do the other two, you know? I just kept like, no, I just wasn't getting better, wasn't getting better. Fast forward, he lives with me now.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And I'm like, so
thank
Renee, when you say I'm gonna look forward to, he is the one who has blessed me with a grandbaby. So
yeah.
he has a very he's gonna have a very hard struggle, right? Because having a baby young is hard, but he gets it. The love that he has for his son, and I can hug him now. I can tell him I can love him. We can sit at the table and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I can be his friend. I can ask him what he wants for the future. And I absolutely love his girlfriend so much. Like, she is my daughter.
Yeah.
And I explained to my son, no matter what happens to you guys, she will always be my daughter and she will always be in my life because she blessed me with this grandbaby. And I treat her as such.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
sometimes, my kids might get a little jealous
Yeah.
of the daughter-in-laws.
Yeah. Yeah. I get.
But so I went through that, but my loneliness came from Renee was when I did go through a divorce and my kids were young and I had that period. I didn't know, like how you said, I poured my whole life into my kids.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do anything for me.
Yeah.
I had zero friends. I had
Yeah.
a job and my kids and
Yeah.
clean the house. Job, clean the house, clean the
Yeah.
kids. So when I didn't have the kids, we did every other week. I would go 7 days and I would sit in pure depression. I had no girlfriends around because I had traveled all the time. We moved. I had nothing fun to do. I had nothing for me. And I was like, I got to learn to love me again. Like,
Right.
I'm in big trouble. And I was thinking about it. I was like, my kids are 11, 13, and 15. They're about to grow up.
Yeah.
What happens when they do become adults?
Yeah.
So it was like the switch hit me that they're going to be gone. And having boys, they leave
They
you.
leave. They
they
leave.
they
Yeah.
take
That's
they take
different.
their wife and they
Yep.
leave, and you fit in where you get in.
Yeah.
And so for me as a boy mom, that has been my biggest challenge. And my dad taught me so well. Every boy, every man that I did bring around, or that I was, when I was married,
Mhm.
he became friends with them. And I
Right.
think at one point in time, him and my husband were actually best friends. And I was jealous a little. I was like, he likes him more than me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I learned that that's how he stays in our life. He
Yeah.
calls him, but he gets to know what his daughter's doing.
Yeah. Yep.
And
And
having
that's
boys,
fantastic. And that's definitely and that's how I felt like I was raising my kids. Their boyfriends were always their boyfriends and the friends were always welcome and at my house. And if they had a
Yes.
boyfriend, they came out for dinner with us. They're welcome on holidays. Like everyone is part of their family members. And it wasn't, I didn't do it as far as for the reason of like manipulating them to want to be with me.
No.
I just like you and your family, we want them because we want to be part of our kids' lives,
Yes.
and we know that that is an important factor. So whether we love on them or we don't, right? Thank God my oldest daughter is getting married to a fabulous man, and I love his parents. His parents are divorced. So I'm going to be very blessed when it comes to, holidays or whatever.
That's
But
awesome.
but like you said, being friends with them and wanting to do things together. And, my
Yes.
boyfriend has has one son. And I came in the picture, my boyfriend and I have only been together for 3 years. And his son is an adult. He was living here. I live with Tony. He was living here for a while, and then him and his girlfriend bought a house. And, they live on their own. We know at some point they're going to get married. We're super excited, but we love on them. And what we do, similar to what you see, is what you said, like we try to arrange events where we can get all the kids together. Like we
Yes.
still call them the kids, right? But
They are.
they are. And so we schedule, because mine is an hour away, just over an hour away. So it's not like I can just stop by for a cup of coffee or go give her food. She's in a
Yes.
big city that's like, agita for me. So we don't get to see them very often. And like you, I know yours lives in another state, and we'll talk about that. So it's hard to see them as often as we did. We have to appreciate the fact that they're going to live their own lives, but to create special memories and moments where we can get together. And it's not just holidays, like we do pumpkin carving, and I don't care how old we call them little bastards sometimes, but I don't care how old these little bastards are. They're coming over here, we're carving some pumpkins.
Yes. Yes.
Um, we're
Yes.
doing stuff, we'll have an adult Easter egg hunt. Yes, you bet your ass they're getting nips. And yes, we're having fun with this,
Yes.
Like I love creating memories and
Me
and
too.
making sure that we have those bonds with them. And it's really a precious thing when you can spend that time with your adult kids and,
Yes.
get to know each other on a different level, for sure. Yeah.
I think also them knowing that you trust their choice in a mate
Mm-hmm.
instead of questioning it. And one of the biggest things I have learned as a mother with adults is keep your mouth shut. That I mean, you have to be a friend, but you have to keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
There are just things that you do not say to your adult children. It's it's a common love relationship, joke, have fun, be silly, create those memories. One thing that we always do is we go to a lake house and we play games and we have fun and we just, do those things, but that's our special thing. But there's just things that you don't say.
Yeah. Like
And I have gotten in so much trouble for saying things that I shouldn't have said.
like what? Okay, like what?
Oh my gosh. Well, like my son was with this one girl and I called her the devil. And
Um,
yeah, that made him really mad. And I was like, "Ooh, he's never gonna talk to me again. I
yeah.
can't be doing that." You gotta put yourself into check. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I
We
don't
want
know
to
if
give
there's
opinions like,
yes,
oh,
like telling my single son, like, every day, I'm like, "Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a girlfriend?" Like, so I've just stopped doing that because 'cause I'm
yeah.
like, "He's really annoyed, and
Yeah.
he's gonna stop having lunch dates with me if I keep asking him."
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. But it's funny because there are certain things that we have to be honest and give our opinions on. Right.
Yes.
But it's waiting for them to ask. One
Ask
thing
or coaching
I
them.
was just going to say that for sure. So those are two like nuggets. If I learned more about coaching when I was younger,
It's
I
adult kids.
right, they need to teach that in parenting classes for sure. But we learn this because of entrepreneurship and what we do for work, but
Yeah.
coaching and asking questions and waiting for the response. We tend, especially, as parents, we want to fix things and we want to fix the problem. Coaching can piss off kids 1000% because there are some kids that just tell me the fucking answer. Just tell me what you want me to do. And we're like, no. And we'll ask more questions and ask more questions. And I know that that can be annoying. But when we allow our kids to grow into their own opinion and what they want to do and what they want to be and how they
Yeah.
want to articulate, like that's the best thing for sure. For sure. It's definitely a challenge. It is a hell of a lot of fun, but it's funny. Like my oldest daughter will ask me my opinion, and
Mhm.
I'm very honest. So that's the other thing.
So that's the
She
difference
knows.
between having boys and girls, though, Renee, is that girls will come to their mom and ask for those things.
Yeah.
Boys don't do that.
Oh,
They don't
that's
do
true.
that.
That's true.
No.
Yeah. No, she'll ask my opinion, and I tell her. Sometimes she doesn't like it, and I'm like, "Well, you asked my opinion. If you don't want my opinion, don't ask me." But I'm going to be brutally honest. If something doesn't look good on you, I'm going to tell you, "No, it looks like shit." Just like I want you to tell me. If I ask you an opinion, I'm like, "Hey, do you like this like cute little dress?" And she's like, "Yeah, you look like an old lady." Okay, I appreciate that. Like I
Yeah, right.
Right? So, but it's fun to have the banter and the lightness. I
Mhm.
absolutely one thing that I love about having, an adult, I say adult children, but obviously if I'm not speaking to Courtney, it's a little hard. But my oldest asking me or joking with me and bantering with me.
Yeah.
And, as our audience can recognize, you and I both swear.
Mhm.
Um, so having adults that do that back, I don't get offended.
No.
Um, we can joke with each other, call each other, you're being a bitch, you got the resting bitch. Like we can do that and still laugh at the end of the day. And that can
Mhm.
be really funny. She has nicknames for me. I have nicknames for her. Her contact on my phone for the longest time, I had Big Bitch, and my youngest one was Lil Bitch.
Oh, see, boys and girls, like that, like we could probably do a whole episode of what it's like to have like grown
Mhm.
and boys, because you get to have like that fun piece. And when you have boys and they now have wives, though the wife then takes
Yeah.
you're that person with your wife now, that funny, like my little mama, my big man, and your mom is that person that either you respect or you do not.
Right. Right.
And it is like conversations of like, "Mom, what's your recipe to your, chicken parmesan?"
Yeah.
It's, "Mom, if I have a bank account, what do I do, or which one should I choose?" Or, "Mom, what is your opinion on 401k?"
Yeah.
Right? It's not with boys. Yes, you have fun. Like we can get together and we can go have a beer and drink and laugh, and we talk about their friends and what they did that
Yeah.
weekend, but they still are so reserved because they see you in a different light. They protect you as men.
Right.
It's like their role has shifted to this protectant kind of thing, like where they want to be more modest with their mom, where girl and moms with girls, it like becomes like a really true friendship. And that is where a mom with boys, as soon as they get a wife,
Right.
you have to remember she has a mom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's so hard
Yeah.
when you want to have that
Yeah.
relationship with her, but she already has that fun,
Right.
like, "Mom, stop being a bitch," but she also doesn't feel like she can say those things
Yeah.
to me, or if I get offended. And there's a lot of dynamics on time. The truth is that when they get married, they're going to probably go to her family's house
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Right? And when you have daughters, she's like, "I wanna go see my mom." And the husband's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll do that first." And he puts his mom and
Yeah.
parents on the back burner. So it's a very, very different dynamic. You have to, like, for me, I have to go out of my way a lot, like really, really go out of the way to make sure that we can come together as much as possible. If it's not like me planning it and pushing it and advising it and asking it and organizing it, it's like it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Does that
I,
make sense?
it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, my dynamic with having daughters definitely different than mom and boys for sure. Like
It is.
My oldest, she'll literally FaceTime me 800 times a day. She has FaceTimed me while she's showering. Great.
Yeah,
She's holding the
that
so I'm only
that ain't
saying that.
happening between a mom and a son.
No,
Sorry.
but that stuff, and even her fiance is like, "What the hell are you doing, woman?" But she's like, "What?" Like, she thinks nothing of it. She thinks nothing of. We talk about, like, when we were talking before, we said we talk about boundaries, and boundaries with adult kids can be really funny because they'll see you in a different way. She still sees me, which is really great as mom and friend, but boundaries, like if I say, okay, I've got meetings, they don't care. They're still calling. So I had to no, sweetie, you can't call me between this and this.
See,
She'll,
and with and with boys, if my son calls me, if one of them call, girl, I'm answering because I'm freaked out. Something's wrong.
oh, and see, mine will like, what do you, oh, so my oldest will tell me what her cat's doing.
Yeah,
Now,
no, you're not getting that. You're just not getting that from boys.
I'm
You're just
definitely
not.
not, a huge cat lover. Norman is wonderful, but cats don't do a whole hell of a fucking lot. And I'm like, you literally FaceTimed me 20 minutes ago, and now you're calling me to show me Norman is laying on
That's
the blanket.
cute.
So it's cute, and
Cute.
I love it. But sometimes, it's like, okay, sweetheart, I also have to work. Right? But I think the boundaries of having a work from home mom versus a work outside of the house is
Yes.
different as well. But it cracks me up. I wouldn't I wouldn't change anything. I appreciate the fact that she even wants to have conversations with
I
me.
have a I have a girlfriend that has 2 daughters, and it's like they have this ESP every single time we go out to lunch, they are just calling her, and I'm just like, "Is this your life? Is this
Yeah.
what you" and they're adults.
Yeah.
She's like, "Yes." She
Yes.
says, "I am more busy now than whenever I had to run them around as teenagers,
Right.
doing all this stuff for them," and I'm just like, "No." My boys just like, they're so independent, and they're like, "I got it, mom. I got it." And you like try to be a little overbearing or you want to support them. Like my son, he lives in a bachelor patio. He has his own house, but it's not decorated. And I'm like, "Oh, do you want me to decorate your room?" And I was so fucking happy when he was like, "Yeah, mom, you can. Yeah, go ahead, hook it up." And I came over and I put everything. I was so happy. I was like, "Yay!" And I felt
Yeah.
so good. I was
Yeah.
like, he actually needed me.
Right.
Where and girls, they just need you
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time. And it's really funny to see um her wanting to parent me. Do you find that at all?
Oh,
Do you see that at all with boys? Because she'll
so
parent
they're
me.
just for for my boys in particular, it just is more of a protective.
Mm,
It's like with my health issues, they're a
mhm.
little bit more attentive. They're like, "Are you okay?" It's all but it's more like a protective, but they don't know. They don't need to parent me. They don't it's a very different dynamic. It's more like, "How are you doing? You good? Hey mom. Hey mom, I got this going on or I'm doing this." I like always am like telling my other son, "Hey, we need to have a lunch date." So we have these lunch dates and when we go, so what's new? What's caught up?
Yeah,
How's the guys? So what's new with work? And I try not to bring up girls anymore.
yeah.
And so it's just like shoot the shit and then I love you, mom, and on your way. But he'll open the door for me. He'll pay for me.
Oh,
He'll walk me to my car, so it becomes like this protective protective. And
Yeah.
then my middle son, who lives in a different state, and he's in the military, so he lives in a different state. When he does come home, he is very attentive, like, hey mom, what are we doing? Or he's always like hugging on me and touching me. And then I have two that live with us, and
Yeah.
it's like they're here but they're not here. They have their own lives, they work, they have babies, and they're doing their
Yeah.
thing. And whenever we sit at the table, that's when we get caught up. But it's
Yeah.
more like, mom, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, literally before this call, Renee can vouch for this, he had to come and fix my headset.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, it's like almost like I still need them,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in a way, he was like, he feels like, I got this. You don't know what you're talking about. Here you
Yeah.
go. Let me fix you up. He's like, mom, you have to put it here. You have to do it there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you.
I know.
So
It's
that's the
cute
difference with
needing
boys.
them. Yeah, but it is
Yeah,
cute no matter what,
it
needing
is.
them and them still needing us. And
Yes.
my oldest is going, she'll finish up with her doctor of physical therapy degree in December.
Love it.
So her is the whole health thing. And last year
Oh,
my doctor had me go for it. So now I'm showing signs of osteopenia. Okay, so now my daughter's all, and she's like writing down, exercises I need to do, and I have to take
oh,
milk twice a day. Like, she is on me, did you do your exercise? I'm like, no, I didn't do my exercise. And I'm like, I'm fine. She's like, you got to hold on to the railing. You don't want to slip and fall. You need slippy things. And she's telling me I need fucking slippy things in the tub so I don't fall. I'm like, I am 54. I'm
oh.
not 84, but it's the cutest thing. I'm like,
You're like, girl, I ain't 70. I ain't 70.
like, I'm like, mama can still use her hips there, girl. So, and then when I do that, she's like, oh my God.
I am blessed because, okay, so you saying stuff like that, because my daughter-in-law, the one that lives here with me, then how I
Yeah.
told you, like, the one that gave me the grandbaby, my other
Yeah.
daughter-in-law, she lives in Hawaii, so it's like trying to make time with her is really difficult.
Mhm.
But the one that lives with me, she kind of actually treats me like she's my daughter now, because I treat her, so she'll do
Yeah.
shit like that for me too, and I freaking love it. But I laugh and
We,
I'm like, okay, Missy, calm down. We can talk to each other like that now. I'm like,
yeah.
no, 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 you don't need that. And girl, when we go shopping together, we're both so bad. Like, it
Yeah.
feels so good to have that
Yeah.
relationship. She is protective, like that. She'll be Googling what's wrong with me. No, it's just this. It means that you're gonna be, okay, or no, you need to do
Yeah.
this.
It is really, so I love it. I think it's hysterical. I love the fact that, she wants to parent me. She's concerned. And that's the
Yes.
cutest thing, right? No matter how that shows and how it's formed. It's sweet. So yeah, adulting children, it can be a challenge, but it's so much fun. I can't wait. We're trying to schedule we have our pumpkin carving. And so, we'll have my daughter and her fiance, will have his son and his girlfriend over, and make pizza. Anytime we can carve out to spend time together is so great. And so we're also lucky that his son and girlfriend live literally 5 minutes away, less than that. So they're
Oh,
very close. And so we try and do, weekly dinners to at least catch up. How's things going at work? Like you
yeah.
said, like with lunch, right? Like, it's how things are going at
Yes.
work. What's going on in
Yes.
your life? Like, it's that weekly touch base but yeah, like you said, unless we say like, hey, are we going to get together? It's hard. But we understand,
Me
as
too.
parents, we understand and appreciate that they have lives,
Yes.
and they're going to want to explore things with their friends, their partner, relax themselves, and not to be, I never want it
Yes.
to be an obligatory relationship or get together.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I dreaded,
Yes.
was you have to go because you have to. No, we want to have relationships with our kids and get together because we all want to see each other.
Mhm.
So that's always a work in progress type of thing.
I actually have my son and his wife are here. So we're actually going to dinner here in a little bit. All of us, we're going to go to
Yeah.
sushi. So all of us get together. And it's just in those moments whenever you have all of your kid. Oh my gosh, my hair, y'all. When you have all your kids
Oh
together. Oh my
my,
God. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know, you just look at them and it's like they're in diapers again or
Yep.
something, and so anytime you can have that. So having him live, 8 hours away and maybe getting once a year where we're all together,
Mhm.
it's so hard. But when we do, we just laugh and have fun. And one thing is that, and I know, Renee, this is a piece that's missing for you right now, so I don't want to sound insensitive to you,
Oh,
but to the audience, is that I'm really blessed because my 3 boys, like, y'all, they're tight.
that's awesome.
Like, and I'm like, okay, something
Yeah.
was right. There's always one that, I mean, when you have multiple kids, there's always one that feels left out. Okay. So sometimes the middle one feels left out because he's gone. Sometimes the baby feels left out because they never invite him at the end of the day. And then they do, and the oldest one is so bossy. It's like a true dynamic, but
Yeah.
they just, every time any one of them come into town, they're like, let's get together. Let's go golfing. Let's have a barbecue. And I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
So that is such a good feeling. And
That's
it
wonderful.
refreshing. And
Yeah.
then, and my 2 daughter-in-laws, they do like each other.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean? They actually, so, and that could be a scary thing too when you all get together. Like, what if one of the daughter-in-laws don't fit in, but they do like each other.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing.
That's a fantastic thing. And that's, we I had it. I love and appreciate families like you that have that. And,
You'll have it again.
I
You're
know
gonna
that we'll
have
have it again. It'll be
it
different.
will.
Life
It will.
changes for everyone, but I know that we'll be stronger no matter
You
what.
will.
So, you know,
You will.
we can love on them, but we have to let them grow. Like that's the point of this, right? We can love
Yes.
on our adult kids. I know that they all know in every fiber of their being that we're there for them no matter what.
Yeah, it's not like we were selling our body or, drug addicts or alcoholics. And for any, I grew up. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to fix this. I'm so sorry. My hair is a mess. I grew up with a drug addict mother. So,
Right.
my absence in her life was her decisions.
Yeah.
So, that's something that whenever you do have that time apart, but whenever you come back together, it's not going to skip a beat. I have a faith, if there's no kind of addiction involved, it's just going to come together like it was never separated.
Yeah, for
I,
sure.
I do have faith in that.
I do too. I do too. I mean, I've seen it with friends. I've seen it. I have to just believe. I know that he will provide. I am a big believer in that. So, you know, this has to be her journey, and this has to be my
Yes.
journey. And we will
Gosh.
come out of this so much stronger and healthier,
Yes.
happier,
Yes.
to be able to be
Yes.
there for each other. Then I mean, we can't. I don't know if I'll necessarily say it was worth it. It's just the fact that that's our journey, and life was not meant to be easy peasy for everyone. So this
No.
was, my journey. But I always try and look at any of the many, many obstacles that I've gone through in my life and recognizing that there's value after you go through it.
Yes.
There's a lesson, and
Yes.
by sharing it, maybe that could help somebody else. So at the end of the day, if this helps somebody else go, oh, thank you for sharing that, because they can relate and feel like they're less alone, then you know what? We can share this and help others.
And The Power of a Praying Mother. I know that is a book, right? You guys, many of you guys know The Power of a Praying Mother, Power of Praying Wife. It is so real. Like, when I was going through that with my son when he was 12, 13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
I was on my knees daily. God, bring him back to me. God, bring him back to me. God, bring him back to me. And he has now been living with me for 3 years as an adult. And it's like I miss those pieces, but I have him.
Right. Right.
And the times that I would be in my shower, in my closet, crying on the ground,
Yeah.
balled up, feeling hopeless, like this is not going to get better. I would just, please God, I'm so helpless. And it's like he answers you at the right time.
Right.
And it's hard to go through it.
Yeah. But I know, but like you said, I'm glad that you shared that because it really is true. He gets me through it. If I can
Mhm.
help others during the journey, wonderful. But it's going to resolve itself when he wants it to resolve, when he sees
Yeah,
that it needs to be resolved. So, you know, that's it.
it is. That is it. It's just the struggle is freaking real.
It
Tis
is.
why we needed a full glass of wine to get through this because the emotions that you go through watching your baby run to you in
Yeah.
open arms in
Yeah.
their little diaper to saying bye to you and not knowing when you're gonna see them again,
Yeah.
you know?
It's really they don't it's tough, but
It's
it's
tough.
tough, but it's the most rewarding thing ever, you know? It's
Yes.
just we all have our own journeys, the kids have
Mhm.
their own journeys, and, you know, everyone who listens to this know that you're not alone no matter what
You're
path
not.
you're on, whatever roller coaster you're on, because it is a roller coaster. It is a high and
Mhm.
low constant
It is.
being a mom, but, you
It
know, we'll all
is.
get through it and just pray to God that they all turn out to be good, happy.
Humans that wanna be in your life,
Exactly.
right? Like, that's you
It.
just want that. You just and then when you get the chance to have those moments,
Yep,
love every single second that you get, whether it's a Sunday dinner, a pizza
yep,
night, a pumpkin carving,
yep,
a lake, anything,
yep.
just soak it up
Soak it
because
up.
it's just those little tiny moments, and then fall in love with yourself.
Yeah,
Make sure you have something for you, keep your mind, your heart, your soul busy, and do it for you
yeah,
because your life has now started again now
yeah.
that your kids have become adults,
Yes, because a
right?
lot of us lose ourselves during the process, like you said.
I
I
do.
mean, you know,
Yep.
we're moms, and that we bury ourselves in raising our babies, and then you get to a point where, "Oh, they're in college? What the
Yes.
oh, they're not coming home? What?" You know, it's
Mhm.
it's quite a journey, and a lot of women don't talk about it, um, because we're always like, we're strong and brave, and we're not gonna share that, but, I think as women, we're getting, you know, more comfortable in sharing those things, so,
So too.
you know, love to hear what other people have gone through, if they've gone through any of these similar journeys, and share what has helped you, anything you've learned from it, that would be great.
Yes.
But appreciate everyone listening in today.
Yeah, we love y'all, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Tune in for more craziness. We hope you love what you're hearing, and again, we're just excited that you're here with us. We appreciate you so much. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Bye, all.